They say you need to move well before you move often. So today on Rebuild Yourself, we're talking about rebuilding your shoulder. And if I had to start on rebuilding my shoulder, I would start at the foundation. And one of the foundations is a single arm plank. Can't be beat. It's too simple. It is too good. We're going to go over the muscles. We're going to go over the methodology. We're going to go over the movement in great detail. And I'm going to give you 2 extra drills as well if you have some trouble with this, because it looks very simple, but it can be tough. So I'll give you some accessory work if this is too tough for you. So there are no excuses. It is time to lay the foundations and rebuild your shoulder here on the Anatomy of Therapy. Welcome to Rebuild Yourself Day 2. I'm Dr. John Cybulski. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Help people find the channel. If you have any comments, please leave them below. But this is a simple one today. We're going to go over the muscles, mostly the serratus. We're going to talk about some posterior shoulder, how the lats are involved in keeping your body right. But let's go over this movement first. The movement is not much of a movement. It's more of a position, honestly, that we're going to be talking about here. The position is, let's go back to the beginning so he's kind of clear here. The position is clearly this. You do not need a plank. You do not need these little blocks down here. You just need to have one hand. And what you're going to do is push this arm down to the ground, almost push your torso up. It will have the propensity to kind of hang down this way. So you want to try to keep your torso even with the ground. Pretty simple as that, right? In the second one, you can kind of see how his shoulders down here, nice and straight torso. I wouldn't say this is a high glute, only because he's kind of elevated here on these blocks. His shoulder is a little bit far back. Ideally, we want your torso forward and then your shoulder right over there. I think that's what Ian Markow, this is from Ian Markow's page. We're also going to show you Kevin from the Klein Clinic as well. Both great follows on Instagram. If you haven't followed them already, good. There you go. So he's correcting him to go forward. Anyways, either way, you're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. This is a foundational position that you need your shoulder strong in, okay? So hold this position, baseline level, 20-30 seconds, okay? If you can't, we'll give you some other drills here in a second. If you can hold it for a minute, that's even better. If you can hold it for 2 minutes, you are next level. If you can hold this for 3 minutes, you've got a very strong shoulder. You have a great foundation on which to move, and you can build even better things on top of a shoulder like this. So anyways, we're going to hold this position. It's pretty simple. Now, what is happening if you are falling? Let's go to the muscles kind of briefly here. In the muscles, we are talking about you probably are sagging down. So let me actually show you the movement. Gosh, let's go back here. So in the movement, this is a good example because this is an alternate accessory work for this. This is Kevin from the Klein Clinic. Again, great follow on Instagram. He is actually doing some scap push-ups, some one-arm scap push-ups, which are actually not easy. They're not hard either. But ideally, this is what happens is as you're doing the single arm plank over here, and you're trying to hold it for 30, 45, a minute, what will happen is that you will slowly kind of fall down there. Now, you will try to pull yourself back up, obviously, but as you get weaker, you will slowly kind of sink downwards. You can see how the torso's down this way, his shoulders back up, so he probably got a winking shoulder blade. Let's talk about the muscles that are involved with that. So let's go over here. What happens if you have weak muscles that are basically letting your shoulder blade kind of fall back like we were talking about and can't hold yourself up off the ground? These are these serratus muscles. That's going to be the number one muscles that as you push into the ground or keep your torso back that we're going to be kind of working, okay? Now, ideally, you're really kind of feeling a bunch in the back of the shoulder. This is the posterior rotator cuff. You're probably feeling some triceps, hopefully some muscles kind of coming into here as well. Not obviously these guys going down. You may feel some coming up here. There's going to be a little lower trap. There's going to be some lats for sure. Let's see where the lats come in. Here's the lats. These are the lats. And then you're going to get, of course, posterior delt. And then, of course, you're going to get a lot through, hopefully here, rhomboids, mid-trap, lower trap. This is going to be mid-trap, rhomboids, and generally just a bunch of good stuff in the back of your shoulder. That's really what you want to feel here. If, however, your shoulder is falling, it is most likely due to these guys over here, the serratus muscle, right? So this attaches to all of those ribs. It usually gets compressed as we fall down and sink into bad posture all day. It attaches back here at the edge of the shoulder blade. So a lot of times when we're talking about that shoulder blade kind of popping off the back, let's show it here in Kevin saying, so as he goes up and then he goes back down, that shoulder blade basically is going to come off because the torso is going down. So you're going to get some gapping there of the shoulder blade. We do not want that shoulder blade off of the rib cage. This is not good. There's literally a neurological condition of scapular winging. It's a lot rarer than people think. Most of the time people just have a very weak serratus muscle here. And then often scapular stabilizers in the back of their shoulder. And that is what this exercise is attempting to fix. Okay, so let's go back to the movement again. This accessory muscle, this accessory work, good Lord, of doing a scapular push-up. Now, really, what I'd like you to do is not go all the way down, okay? I don't really know how far Kevin has. He's got great mobility. Don't go all the way down. I want you to go all the way up and then just a touch down, okay? All the way up and then just a little bit down, because what happens is we don't want you to get stronger going further and further down. We want you to stay up on this north end, but also keeping your torso forward or your chest straight down towards the ground, okay? If you have a hard time with this, and this actually is going to be a really tough drill too as you go along, we're going to allow some scapular rotation. Now, the one thing that I want to really make sure is that basically, like in this exercise, you go all the way up first. Hold on, go all the way up first, pause there, and then twist all the way up. Do not let your shoulder kind of sink back or your chest kind of sink forward in this position. That is losing the stability in the back of your scapula, the foundation of your shoulder movement, which is the back of your scapula on your torso. Don't let that sink up. Don't let that shrug back. We can talk about shrugging with bench press. I know my podcast partner Bobby loves talking about that sort of thing. We can get that into that in our podcast and Patreon, which y'all should also follow, links below, obviously. But what we're going to do is, again, push down and then rotate back and then rotate forward. This you want to do very, very slow. Now, as you do this, you'll much more clearly see how we are kind of hitting these serratus muscles, right? So you can see how they are a rotational muscle. They attach right back in through there, right? And so when we are twisting, when Kevin is twisting here, he's really moving along the path of those serratus muscles. You really have to be pushing down and reaching, trying to get your chest not even just really rotated, but away from the ground. So you're almost pushing and kind of reaching away. That is the key with this. But ideally and ultimately, the goal is to get back to this static single arm plank where your torso is forward, your shoulder is 90 degrees over, your torso stays straight, the butt stay even, you keep your torso even, you're pushing down, you are lighting up the back of this shoulder here. You're getting all of this really cooking. Hopefully some shoulder stuff here. Hopefully some stuff here. Hopefully your triceps there as well. We're really stabilizing the back of the shoulder to create a foundation for which that shoulder can spring off of and move. If you can do this for a minute, your shoulder is in a good place to be, okay? If you can't, try these other accessory movements that we did over here. Kevin from the Climb Clinic. Again, the scap kind of push up all the way down, all the way up. I would prefer you not go all the way down. Go up and halfway down. Up and halfway down. Really try to stay on the north end of those scap push-ups. That would be great. If you're having a really hard time, I would say go back to these rotational scap push-ups, but really make sure, again, like this first one, that you go all the way up. So he goes down, he goes up, and then once you've gone all the way up, then you're allowed to twist, okay? This is the key. You've got to push and reach the shoulder blade away from the torso. That is how we are going to attack the serratus and create a good foundation for you to build athleticism on the shoulder, for you to build strength on the shoulder, and for you just to have a great shoulder. Shoulders are important. We're going to talk about moving well before you move often on our podcast here shortly. So links below to that. We're on Spotify. We got a Patreon we're kicking off here shortly. So tune into that. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Rebuild Yourself, Rebuild Your Shoulder. How long can you do this single arm plank? Comment below. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.